guys, I'm coming to you guys a little late today. This video took me forever to put together. I know I've been promising it for a little while, but this is the overview video. It's fairly detailed on the installation of the Hydromatic auto covers by Aquamatic. That's the cover we promote to use with all of our kits, and I just promote it in general. If you guys are, have done a pool on your own, so much so that I've worked out a deal with Aquamatic that if you call Jeff, I'll put his contact right here, Jeff at Hydromatic, give him the promo code GURU for ICFguru.com, which is where you can buy your kit to buy the pool. They actually give you my distributor price automatically, and I never have to take any delivery or have any middleman stuff going on. You buy directly from them. The warranty stuff's in your name. I can supply you with everything else you need to build the pool, but it's very inefficient to take delivery of a 20-foot long crate in the middle of the U.S. and ship it out to wherever you are. So Jeff handles that directly from the factory in Southern California. I love their covers. It's the best cover. Like I said, promo code GURU. Call Jeff, and he will take really good care of you. Another thing that comes, I've talked about it before, but with the kits that we sell, every piece of plumbing comes with a QR code. The overall plumbing comes with a QR code. We have a SketchUp model that I give you a video walkthrough of the entire model, from digging to gravel to building the walls to plumbing. That's all just like a virtual model. So we can consult on that and everything else. But you're also going to have a very detailed video available to you on the installation of the auto cover. Jeff and the guys at Aquamatic were nice enough to get me a small cover that we're going to install at every training that we continue to have. Our next training is in late October. We won't have another one again until spring of 2024, but that training is going to have the auto cover installed. Every piece of it's going to be installed during training, and then we'll do that every subsequent training from now on. But there's also going to be probably an hour-long video that comes with that step-by-step in chapters. Way more detailed than this video today, but that's available with every kit you buy from us at ICFguru.com. So without further ado, I'll take you into this video about the Aquamatic Hydromatic auto covers. So we're going to set the auto cover rails now. I got everything out of the boxes. We located the corners. So the first thing I'm going to do is place the corners where they go. There's two on this end that are rails on both directions. The two on that end have one side's laid down. It's the kind of just the sill that goes where the cover slides over it. So they go down there, and I've already verified that my pool is perfectly square. I had to adjust one of these corners about 1/4 of an inch to get it perfect. But the big part is, we took our time. Normally I said we don't do bastard joints. We end up with 20 and 1 inch, but with an 8-inch form, I wasn't sure. So we just ordered it exactly 20 for the cover. And now I have to verify that this is exactly 20. Even if I have to cheat this rail in and out, that's okay. I actually got really lucky because we were at 20 and 1/8 when I measured it, and I was sitting back about 1/8 of an inch on the concrete. So I'm getting ready to re-drill that hole, and it's going to be just perfect. So the big thing is that you want to be perfectly parallel on this long side. So after I get these set, I'm going to put a string right across here, going that way to the other end. And then I'm going to actually shim with a bunch of U-shims. I'm going to shim each one to that string. So I'm running as straight as the string line, exactly 20 feet apart. And then this thing will run just smooth as can be. Okay. So what I'm doing now, I've got everything on this one string line straight. I held the string right off the front of it and got it perfectly straight. But now we had just a little bit of a high spot in the middle. So I found the highest point by raising the string up about 2.5 inches above. And I found the very highest point, and now I'm shimming every screw hole to that exact height. So now it's running perfectly straight this way and this way, which is what we want. And we'll replicate the process across the pool. Okay guys, so this is a step that's not 1000% necessary, but Dave is going to cut this foam. We're going to remove it above that line to give us a concrete substrate to attach the drum to. You can see what we've done there. It makes it a lot easier, and it also makes the well a little bit closer to the pool. Our well isn't done. Normally you're going to do the well first. The way I normally tell you guys when you buy a kit is to run 1 row of block, put a form right here up to whatever grade your concrete's going to be, and then you pour this with your pool deck. And this is all done before. This pool has 2 CM pavers, so we actually need a second block that's ripped. It's not done. We're working on it today. We're gonna go ahead and start assembling this while our batteries are charging on our hot saw. So the first thing you're gonna do to assemble the drum assembly is you're gonna come down this way, and this is the passive end of the cover. The drum comes with a axle, and you just slide that on. Should go on easy. There it goes. Okay, so that's on. Then you're gonna come down to the motor side. None of this is very heavy, and I'm gonna pop some. And there's a flange bolt kit that's gonna come in your parts bag. It's gonna come with 4 1¼ by 3/8 bolts that take a 9/16 box wrench. I'm gonna get all this out of the bag, and they each have a lock washer. You have to have the hub aligned in just such a way that the bolts will actually fit. If you try to align them, like, if I can not drop them here, they don't fit in here. So they can only fit through here. So you can go ahead and start each one by putting it right here. Get that in, spin it around, put another one in. Okay guys, we'll just fast forward through the rest of these bolts, but it's really no more complex than assembling a wheelbarrow from Home Depot. It's very simple. Just follow the instructions step by step and it works out just fine. Okay, so once you get this thing bolted together, it's actually ready to lift it into place. The directions will show you a way to do that with a extra piece of rail or any kind of like aluminum channel and a piece of all thread where you suspend it from the top. And we actually like that method. It's pretty adjustable. Here today, obviously we're on location, we're out here. I don't have any of that stuff with me. We're just gonna set it on blocks. You can do that as well. But your goal is gonna be to get it very level and perfectly square with the pool, because that's what's going to, the drum is what opens the cover. This pulley system here is what closes the cover. So this is, the ropes wrap around this, so the drum spins to open it, but then obviously it wouldn't push the cover open, so the pulleys drag the pool closed. Okay guys, so the way we choose to do this, you can buy a plastic well from Hydromatic or from any of the auto cover companies, but they're expensive and they're a little janky. You have to entrain them in concrete or there's not much structure going on. So after we pour the walls of the ICF, if I can get in here, it's awful sunny, but we just basically pour a concrete, like, looks like a sidewalk, effectively, on the back side of the pool, about 24 inches out and 14 inches down to the top of the concrete. That's the size of the well. Then we use cinder block, 2 rows of cinder block, which you can probably see there. And then we form up on top of that, if I don't trip, we'll form up on top of that and pour a concrete cap that's part of the pool deck. And now you have a perfectly structural concrete well. There's literally not $250 in material. There's like less than a yard of concrete and some cinder block. So it's a cheap way to achieve a better well. Then you're going to, when you put this thing in, this is the drive side, the drive end. The way that you order this is if you're standing in the well facing the pool, your motor end is that's a right-hand drive. If it was on here, it would be left-hand drive. So you kind of stand in the well, look at the pool, whichever side the motor's on is the drive side. So this is the motorized side that takes the hydraulics. You basically mount this drum. If you're doing a non-vinyl liner, that drum should be 1 inch below the dropped beam. If it's a vinyl liner, the beam doesn't drop. It stays the same height because the vinyl liner track has to be at that same height. So then it should be 3 inches down to the drum. And that's a ballpark. There's adjustments in this that you can do differently. But this side here is the idler side. And you can see that shaft is kind of half in, half out. That's because it's going to give us the ability to shift this whole drum back and forth. This is a little neater than the cover stars and stuff. This tapered end, just moving that taper just a little bit is going to make the cover close more square one way or the other. So I'll show you guys how to do that adjustment once we get the cover on. All right, Will and Liv are carrying the cover over. It probably weighs 100 and some pounds, so we'll get that out as soon as the boys get the drum set. and show you guys how we string this bag. First thing, Will. Okay, so now these are the little bonding tabs, and let's undo this rope here. All right, so now it's going to unroll, and the dull side is what's going to face upward. Okay, so once you get it untied, you just figure out which side is up. You carry it over there and just unroll it. You don't unfold it, but you unroll it the width of the pool so you can then get both strings run through their respective side. Okay, guys, the way I've identified this, it's got this little net that faces down. On the front side, it's a zipper. So if you get a bunch of water stuck on top of the cover and your pump's not working, whatever, emergency situation, you can unzip this and force the water into the pool, and this will catch all the leaves and debris. It's still not the ideal situation, but it's kind of there as a fail-safe so you don't get your cover weighted down. But these are the strings. The next step is me and Will are gonna string them way out in the yard, get them completely untangled. The boys are attaching the rest of the drum. I will give you an overview of that, and then we will show you how to string the actual rails and install them. It's probably almost 100 feet of line because it has to go through the 40-foot rail and back and still have enough to go around the pulleys in the correct order. So what's gonna happen is you have to get it situated, and then you take them past the pool once you've run all the line, and you cut them both off about 10 feet past. So you got about 7 to 10 feet of line always wrapped around the drum, and then more like 50 feet of line when it's open because it spools up the rope. To take that, and you're going to feed it into the inside, because the inside edge is the one that that black plastic is going to eventually slide within. So you can slide it till it starts to bind, and then I'm going to hook it with an awl and drag it on in. It actually slides real easy. It doesn't really fight much. Hey, Will, you want to go down there and line it up? So when you get the directions, it's gonna call for I forget what they call it. It's like a keyway piece here to mend these. That's only for the old school style mountings. Most of you guys building these ICF pools are going to have a receiver, meaning you don't have that piece. And I think they purposely leave it out of the kit so you don't try to use it, because if you do use it, it's not going to fit in the... What? Well, here. I got an awl. You can drag it the rest of the way. Okay, guys. So Will has this pulled all the way through the 40 feet of rail. Now, there's this pulley here. It's just an idler bearing style pulley. We're going to start back in the other side, and he'll grab that with the awl behind me. As soon as I get this thing pulled around the pulley nice and snug, he can pull out another 40 feet of line till he's cleared back to the other end. Pull those lines. Okay, guys, you can see it's in there now, and it's got kind of just free movement on the strings. There's a shim, and I'm going to try to show you how it works, but there's a shim that goes in that gap right there that I'm moving up and down right here, and that actually locks it in. There's a keyway. I'll show you. I'll take you to the shop real quick because I actually have a little sample that makes that a lot easier to illustrate, but that's the shim right there. All right, guys, so what I'm doing here is there's like about probably a 4 millimeter thick PVC shim. They come in lengths of probably 8 feet. They're the same thickness as the rail, and it goes under that gap I was just showing you in the previous clip, and you kind of got to hammer it under there. It's pretty tight. I like to use a block of wood because it won't hurt the liner or anything else if it touches it, but I try to keep it off of everything. It goes in pretty easy most times unless you have left a little dirt or sediment in the channel. But as long as it's clean, it kind of knocks right in. You work all the way down both sides of the pool, and that locks your rails in, and now it's going to be able to hold the tension of the cover without trying to pull out because it's up in that aluminum extrusion keyway. Okay, guys, this is the leading edge that actually pulls the cover. It's going to slide over. It's basically got a cable sewn into the cover. So you're going to slide it over. That extrusion slides over. Will and Livy are sliding it on right now, and the boys are kind of feeding it to them. Once they get it on there, it's got a couple set screws that keep it from sliding back and forth, but you can kind of see how that net is below, and it actually has some little mounting plates that I'll show you in a sec. Okay, so once we feed this through, it goes through like this, and this will actually, this cord and this piece here will go right into that extrusion, and then this ovalized hole catches one of these bolts. You can put it in any of those 3 spots, so this just sits on top of it, and that's actually what drives, what pulls the cover shut. Okay, they're going so fast, I barely got this on video, but basically they're just pulling the strings to close this cover the first time, so we can then do all the cable work over here at the well. All right, guys, now this is sort of one of the pieces that I think is fairly unique to Hydromatic. Pulley, you basically put it right at the center, which this is this little circle delineates, and this pulley freely floats on this stainless bracket, and the string from the far left side comes through here, back in, and all the way over, and then from the right side it comes in here. So when the cover is closed or opening, this thing can freely slide back and forth in case there's more pressure on one string than the other. I will show you that in the video once we get it operating. It's pretty interesting. So you don't have to get it absolutely perfectly adjusted. This thing takes out excess tension in whichever side has excess tension. So pretty cool, pretty simple deal. All right, guys, so Livy's grabbing the ropes, keeping them straight so they don't get tangled up. Will's having lunch. Say hi, Will. I'm going to click this guy to uncover, and the cover is opening. I will show you guys how to adjust the tension. When we first tried to do this, from the factory it comes pretty low power, so we just adjusted it. And what's happening now, guys, the strings aren't wired or aren't strung, so it won't close back. The drum is what opens it, and the strings are what close it. So we can open it like we're doing now, but once we get it open, now the boys will help string the 2 strings. Let me see if I can walk over here. We will wrap these strings around these 2 pulleys. We'll just basically start them in those little holes in the side, and then I will go the other way and it'll spin them up. Now, one thing I want to show you guys, we'll get to it in a second. You see how this one hit the stop, but over here it's still about 3 inches out. That's the last thing I'm going to show you guys other than installing this type of lid, and there's an adjustment right down here that's going to make this thing close just perfect. Okay, guys, so this thing actually sorted itself out by, if you're supposed to run it 2 or 3 times to make sure it's actually out of adjustment, or as the ropes kind of equalize their pressure, and this thing's actually closing pretty much perfect. It hit both stops at the same time. But if it doesn't, right here, you basically loosen these 2 bolts and you use a screwdriver right here to pry this way or that way. Because if you remember right, it has those conical ends. So if you shift it one way or the other, you're making the diameter of the end that accepts the rope smaller or larger, and that will make it close just a little faster than the other side or a little slower. So you just make micro adjustments right here till it closes or opens just right. Closure should always close square because of the way the cables work, but the opening it's right here. So that's how you adjust that. Don't know that we're gonna have to. We're gonna put the lid on and make sure it's closing good. All right, guys, they're closing it to get it out of the way real quick. This is the composite lid. They make a composite lid, an aluminum lid that hinges open. This one doesn't. This one just lays there, but it's real nice and sturdy. And then they make the metal brackets, and in a minute I'll take you guys back to Grand Junction and show you the metal brackets. These are metal brackets too, but they're not that heavy duty ones that are made to handle like 2-inch thick concrete or like porcelain pavers. If you use the porcelain pavers, there's a stainless steel pan, but this is the basic lid that comes with the, you know, the base cover, and then you can upgrade the lid. So I'm going to show you how to put this lid in now. It's upside down. We got to basically screw it together and then put it in. Okay, so this is the composite lid. This one and the aluminum one, they look real nice. This one will last a lot of years because it's composite. It does have just a little bit of flexion to it. It doesn't really matter. You're not supposed to be jumping around on it, but it can handle, you know, kids or people jumping off of it. Just like the cover can handle being walked on, but it's not really made to be done day in and day out. Okay, guys, so the other option, which is probably the higher end option, is if you're gonna have hardscapes or you want a concrete lid, you can get these HD brackets, and they are very, very heavy duty. You have to anchor them in with very large concrete anchors that they provide. And then they have a ton of adjustment. So if your concrete's sitting on level, that right there is the stainless steel pan that you can get if you're doing a tile hardscape, so that your lid can actually match the tile. But you can do 2 cm pavers, tile, or concrete and use this system instead of the composite or aluminum lid. But both of these projects were a lot of fun. They were both DIY kits. I was obviously pretty involved in this one in Grand Junction. Will and Livy did almost everything themselves. But this video was just intended to be a broad swath overview of the potential with these auto covers. Like I said, if you buy one of the kits, you will get a QR code for a highly detailed step-by-step version of this video. And I'll see you guys next week.